please, if we're not hearing you, please raise your hand, and Shireen will be watching you. So with that, are there any public comments? Okay, we're going to assume there are no comments. And if there are, you can join us at the end of the meeting where there is our second public access. That brings us to C, the approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda plus the addendum, which is G3A and G8. Phyllis is moving it, and Carrie is the second. Are there any questions on that? If not, so I'm going to need those of you online to raise your hand, and maybe we'll just raise our hand as well. All right, so all of those in favor? Aye. You're already good with them. All those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Brings us to the acceptance of the minutes from the November 9th regular meeting. Are there any questions on those? I'm going to assume no. And those will stand as submitted. That brings us to the acceptance of the treasurer's report. Are there any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to assume there are no questions, and that will also stand as submitted. That brings us to our administrator's reports, and Dr. Brown, you are going to update us a bit on what's been going on.
Sure. So thank you, everybody. And YouTube is working. We have 4 watchers right now, so that's good. Welcome to everyone, and happy holidays, of course, to everybody. This will be our last board meeting before Christmas and New Year's and all that. So just real brief, I've been sending out quite a few things to the community about what's happening with COVID in our school district. You know, I think we're doing the best we can. One of the positive things that we saw yesterday was today's Monday. Today was in a webinar where they're kind of going through yellow zone, orange zone, red zone, and what we're going to have to do if we're in any of those zones. Schools will be able to remain open in any of those zones, and we'll have to do testing. It's yellow zone is still 20%, and orange or red are going to be 30%. The nice thing is that we already have 20 people that are available to do the testing if we need to. We'll be associated with the Ontario County Public Health Lab, so we'll be able to run things very, very smoothly. And we've ordered enough product to be able to give, I think, 300 tests right off the bat. So those are all positive things, because today in the webinar they were going through how to get trained, how to get something. We have it. We're ready to go if we have to use it. So we're a little light on permission slips from middle school and high school. For middle school and high school students, it's the usual for anything, but I put out another plea today for people to just respond so we can get them, so we can know yes or no if they would they will allow to have their children tested. Right now, if nobody else said yes to testing, we could do 2 full rounds of testing. So we're in good shape where I'd like to have as many students as possible signed up. Capital project is going incredibly well.
Yeah, sure. So you may have said it and I missed it, but so if we are in that zone, what was the percentage?
So it's 20% for yellow, it's 30 if we're in an orange or red, and if it's an orange or red and it's 30%, we have a month to do the 30%. It's 15% bi-weekly to get to the 30%. Yep, and then on the capital project side, things are going very, very well. At 3 p.m. today, we held our first student assembly. It was the National Honor Society. I feel bad that we weren't able to attend. Normally, we're up on the stage and we have parents, and we weren't able to do that this time, but at least the students were able to have that experience today. It ran very, very well, loud and clear. It was recorded, so it'll be, I think Ms. Taff will put it out so you can view it on our YouTube channel when that's done. Damian Raskowiak's he did the lights and sound for us, and it's just a different environment, totally different atmosphere to have that what we had. So congratulations to all of them. We don't know where sports are heading. We are having open gyms and different exercises for basically any sport that wants to right now. Paul Leahy and Dan Blankenberg have done a great job in trying to make sure that everything is done correctly. The issue is, if you watch the governor's press conference today, he specifically mentioned high contact sports and mentioning, he said, you know, that's why we don't have high contact sports. And he went on to the next thing. He didn't say we're never going to have them, but he mentioned those by name, which made me think that maybe we're not going to have the basketballs and stuff like that, which is disappointing. But I'm still holding out hope that maybe something will be able to happen. Same thing for band and chorus. While they aren't able to do a Christmas concert like we're used to, they are messing around with some of the equipment. I said to Zoe today, we may have to buy a little piece of equipment in order to get it over the top. But Mr. Bond especially has been working with his kids to come up with like a tiled type of concert where everybody is synchronized, and if it's good, we're going to release it, and the students are having some fun with that. So that's been okay. And then in terms of what we're doing additionally is, you know, there's only a few of us here tonight. We decided to pull away from having any large adult gatherings. So that includes faculty meetings, Christmas parties, coffee hours, department chair meetings, anything where we're going to be bringing adults in groups together between now and at least break. Just trying to do what we can to keep everybody here. Very interesting conversation with superintendents from around the county over the weekend about you know, about now until break. And there are some communities that want schools, you know, closed down. They've been putting a lot of pressure on the Board of Education, on their boards of education to close down. They want resolutions passed and have school virtual. And then there's other schools like Marcus Whitman who I think the kids and the staff would rather be here, and the parents would rather have them here. And so we don't have that, but it is very interesting to listen to the different opinions in not that great of a geographic area. If you really think about it, you know, you're talking about Ontario County, so Ontario Needs County. So just, you know, it's neat to see, but we made it through today. And now we're, you know, we had one positive staff member yesterday who had this quarantine herself, but that was it because of how it was contracted. And we'll be back to almost full strength by Thursday. We get a bunch back tomorrow, another bunch back Wednesday, and the rest are back on Thursday. And same thing with the students. So, you know, we're doing the best we can, and that's all I can ask for out of anybody. So that's all I got.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions regarding that? I would also just like to, can I point out this?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know where to show this or whatever, but I'm sure you all read your onboard magazine, but I was just shocked when I opened it. It's the very first page, and on the bottom, there's an article that has Bonnie, well, not really her picture, but a Bitmoji classroom. And I just thought, I was so excited because we've read those for a million years, and it was kind of cool to see. Yeah. So kudos to you, Bonnie, if you're listening. I think that's a really great thing. And also, I just wanted to tell you all, board members, we got a thank you note. I don't think I've ever seen one of these before, ever. But we got a thank you note from the Friendship House. And I just thought that was really neat because I don't think we've ever gotten one. That's not why we do it, but I was telling Carrie, every year it just makes me feel so good when we do that, because there's such a need and it stays right here in our community. So I think that's neat. And then we also got a Christmas card from our new law firm, which I don't think I've ever seen before either. So that's kind of cool. So, yeah. So anyways, I just want to share that with you. That brings us to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. That's G1A through G8, again with those addendums.
So
Jeff has moved it, and Carrie seconded it. Are there any questions on that? No? No questions? All right, all those in favor, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Shall I assume that was carried? That motion was carried.
Bonnie says thank you.
Okay. that brings us to our second public access to the board. Would we have anybody that is wanting to speak?
I didn't see anybody.
Very good.
I just see it.
Okay.
Labeled meeting there.
I know it. I know it.
No, we're good.
Okay. Well, that brings us to our board member items. We have an audit committee 3 days before Christmas, I'd like to point out.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, yes. But we do need to have it. It's December 22nd and it is 5 p.m. and we did talk about Zooming it, so
It'll be a Zoom.
yeah, yes. I think everybody was fine with that, correct? Yes. I think that would be in everyone's best interest. Sue Campbell, I don't know, I'm going to put you on the spot. I don't know if you can hear me. I can't remember. Were you at the general membership one? Okay. Sue and I were at the general membership meeting on the 16th. I don't know, Sue, is there anything we want to share about that?
There wasn't really much information given. Can you hear me?
Well, I'll just share a couple things.
I don't think they
Let's
It's
be
can.
obviously
not.
very different doing it.
We can talk about them. They'll never know.
I can hear you, Sue. Hey, Sue.
There wasn't really much information given.
Yeah.
That was 5 minutes ago.
It's quite a delay.
We can talk about it.
Sue, would you, okay, so if she doesn't want to talk, there was, I can't tell you how many people, how many, I think we did have a quorum. But Marla is very much trying to get people to talk. We actually had a conversation as opposed to just going off the agenda. Or I'm sorry, that might have been at the board of directors meeting. But one of their concerns, and some of the boards, it was kind of interesting. They're like, oh, don't bring that up. They were talking about budget time, and I'm like, well, I think it's a little early for us to say anything, to even think about it. But they wanted to make sure that everyone was still going to remain involved in four counties. And they're like, well, should you go ask your boards and whatever? And I'm like, I don't think our board has any reason to not want to join, but obviously it would be a budget, a conversation at budget time or whatever.
I don't see any hold up on that.
Yeah, I didn't either, but they were concerned. I mean, it was a concern out there that, you know, some people might or whatever.
I think they had one or two drop out this year.
I think they did too, because they got one or two back because they offered them a discount, and I think they had one or two, which, you know, I understand. I mean, but I think it is markedly improved. Would you say that, Phyllis? Or,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, 3 years ago, if you asked me my opinion, I would say, oh, you know, to consider. And I think Sue, I would think Sue would agree with that as well. Sue, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but, and then I was telling somebody before we started, there is a meeting tomorrow night, from a Zoom meeting from 5:30 to 6:30. I'm sure you all got a thing on mental health, and it's on mental health and appreciating your staff during COVID times. I did not RSVP yet, but I still do want to do it because I wasn't sure if I could make it or not. But it's a great thing, but I'm going to suggest, you know, perhaps not doing so many meetings this close, you know, between the holidays. Because that was 2 in November, and then, but they are doing a really good job trying to keep everyone in business, and they are a good resource. So that's all I have. Does anyone else have any other comments?
So I'm just commenting that Sue said she didn't have that much info to talk about, because she's dealing with a
Okay.
delay, that I said would probably go away before an executive session, because you two won't be going at the same time.
Oh, okay,
So that's all.
gotcha, okay. Sorry, she's texting too. Okay. So can they hear me ask that question then?
They should
Does
be
anyone
agree.
have any other comments for the meeting?
Then we just have to wait a second for them.
No.
With that, we are going to go into, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break, and following the break, we're going to go into executive session to discuss the employment history of particular persons.
And eat a cookie.
So, we all.
Okay, so at this time, we're gonna turn off our YouTube signal, and again, I wish everybody a happy holiday. Thank you.
And someone passed me a cookie.